Hello, hello, hello. Good day, everyone. I'm so excited to have you all here for the webinar tagged Building a Thriving Life, Building a Thriving Family. And one of the things you need to know is that I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the fact that you've taken your time to be here. While we wait for others to join, I'd like you to go to the comment section. Just tell us where you're watching from, and yeah, we'll definitely we'll connect. So I'm so excited. So for those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, my name is Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. Yes, I'm a family psychologist. I work with parents, I work with adolescents, I work with individuals. I provide them with tools and resources to live a thriving life. So if you're just joining for the first time, please put it in the comment section that this is your first time. If you're watching the replay, also put it in the comment section that you're watching the replay. So I'm so excited to have you all here. So excited. So as we go straight into what we're here to discuss, today we're looking at how you can build a thriving life, how you can build a thriving family. And for family, for parents, for caregivers, I am wondering, why are we talking about building a thriving family? After all, what is the difference between building a thriving family and building a family? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So this is a 4-week program. We're going to talk about this for the next 4 weeks. Every Saturday by 8 p.m., I'll be here to discuss how you can build a thriving family. The good thing about this program is that we've divided it into 4 weeks, meaning that every week we have something we're going to talk about. This week is all about the introduction. We'll talk about the introduction for this week. We'll talk about why we need to build a thriving family. We'll talk about the difference between a struggling family and a thriving family. Then I'll talk about the pillars. There are 5 pillars to building a thriving family. Next week, I'll start talking about each of the pillars. So, like I said, as you're joining, I'd like you to tell us where you're watching from. And yes, so one thing you need to know, we're living in the times where many families are under pressure. They're under pressure, stress from work, demand, technology, emotional disconnection, unresolved conflicts. And we are also in a fast paced economy whereby all these things are weakening family bonds. And not just weakening family bonds, it's also, a lot of families are surviving, they're struggling, but they're not thriving. And here's something you need to know, that your family, for you to be here, that means you value your family. That means you desire growth. That means you desire peace. That means you desire connection and healthy relationship at home. And when you talk about having a thriving family, I want you to know that having a thriving family is not about having a perfect family. It's not about all the money, having all the money. No, it's not about having children that are excellent in quotes in one area and they are not excellent in another area. No, having a thriving family simply means you're having a family that you're having a family. So I wrote some things that I just want to read it out. I said building a traveling family is not about being perfect, but it's about the little things that matter in your family, the little things. So there are some little things that are very, very important. If you don't take note of these little things, it will be very difficult for your family to grow. It's very difficult for your family to have peace. It's very difficult for your family to be connected, and also be difficult for you to have a healthy relationship with the family members. I said it's the deliberate act of families coming together to build healthy relationship. That is what it means to build a thriving family. It's the deliberate act of families coming together to build a healthy relationship with each other. It's a deliberate act of family coming together to have emotional stability, to grow and to prosper as a family. That is what it means to build a thriving family. Now, I'm going to go into the difference between a thriving family, yes, and a surviving family. When I started, I said that most families are surviving, most families are struggling, most families are not thriving. But because we want to have a thriving family, I'm going to talk about what the things that I'm going to talk about the difference between a thriving family and a surviving or a struggling family. So I want to share my slide. If you can see my slide, I would really like let me know if you can see my slide. I'm about to share the slide. If you can see my slide, please let me know. Thank you so much. Um, just a minute, because and one of the reasons why I actually do slides is for those who are visual learners. Because I know a lot of people, some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, while some are both visual and auditory learners. And because of this, I always like to show my slide so that so if you can see my slide, please let me know you can see my slide. Yes. So we're going to go into the difference between. Can you see my slide? If you can see my slide, please let me know. Okay, okay, I can see my slide. Okay, great, great. Thank you so much. Yes. So we're going to go into the difference between a thriving family and a struggling family. And the reason why I brought this up is so that you can see and you can, you see it and you understand what I mean by a surviving family and a thriving family. So I did like a carousel between the struggling family and the thriving family. Now, if you notice any of this in your family, I'm going to read out the signs of a struggling family. Then you can just type it, maybe one in the comment section. So the signs of struggling families is number one, they are always living in tension. There's always disconnection. There is always constant battle, constant battle between them, constant battle between the parents, the children, the husband and wives, and children and their parents. There's always constant battles, frequent arguments, blames. Can you see my slide? Okay. Frequent arguments, they're always the blaming game. Oh, you are the one at fault. No, you are the one that did this. No, you're the one that did that. Then there's also poor communication. Poor communication and resentment. I remember speaking to, so part of the things I do as a family psychologist, that I work with parents and adolescents. I provide them with tools and resources to have a healthy relationship. I also work with husbands and wife in building, in creating the family that will help them to thrive. And most times when I have husbands and wife coming to my office to have this conversation, these are the things they always complain about, that, oh, we don't talk. Or the wife will say, oh, I actually resent my husband, I have a sense of resentment. Or the husband will say, she's not doing anything, she's just at home. I go out there to get the bacon, to get the money, and all she does is just sit at. So poor communication, that's a sign of a struggling family. There is high stress. There's a lot of stress in the family. There's anxiety, there's burnout in the family. Then also low connection. There's no that intimacy between husband and wife is not there. That connection between the parents and their children is not there. Then no happiness. So instead of the husband coming home straight, he will prefer to go to either a beer parlor or a joint. Let him just be there. So by the time he comes home, he's just coming home to sleep. He doesn't want to have an interaction with the family. Then even the children, to those are in university, they don't want to come home. Instead of coming home, they say, oh, mommy, I have one assignment to do, I have this to do and that to do. And because of that, because they're not happy in the home, they avoid coming home. Another sign of a struggling family is the fact that the children feel insecure. Yes, The children feel that, oh, they can't trust their parents. They feel that they're not being heard. They feel they're not being seen. They feel that emotionally they cannot express themselves emotionally in the home. And because of this, they act out. Now, the other side, let's go to the other side of the thriving family. Here, these people are living with connection, healthy connection. They're living with respect and purpose. They have a sense of purpose, right? There's open communication and there's understanding, meaning that the children and the parents, they communicate and they understand themselves. It means that the husband and the wife, they communicate and they understand themselves well. Also, there's respect, there is trust, there is teamwork, there is emotional well-being, and there is peace of mind. This is the home whereby the children are always excited to go back home. This is the home whereby the husband or the wife is always looking forward to going back home. Why? Because there's peace of mind at home. When they think of their home, what comes to their mind is, oh, peace, Now, not just this, there's also a stronger bond and greater joy. There's this excitement, there's this joy when they're around themselves. This is a sign of a thriving family. Also, the children feel confident, the children feel secure, and the children are well adjusted adults. The children are well adjusted individuals who become well adjusted adults in the society. So, looking at these two families, which one would you want to have? If presently your home is struggling, type 1. If presently your home is thriving, type 2. If your home is such that, oh, I really think I need help, you want help, type 3. If you want help, type 3. So you can see these case studies. The Adebayo before, there were always constant fights. There was lack of time together. The children were struggling in school. Everyone felt unhappy and disconnected. And this is a case study of a family I've actually worked with. And when they, having going through therapy sessions with me being able to help them to build and work with them in building a thriving family, what did they do? They've learned how to communicate better. They've learned how to manage their stress. They've learned how to set healthy boundaries, prioritize family time, and today they're a laughing and loving family. So let's go into why we're here. This is it. So I've discussed the struggling family and the thriving family. I have another slide I'd like us to look at. So this is another one. Which one do you want? The struggling or the thriving? So I'm going to read out some more signs of struggling family, the environment of a struggling family. I'll also talk about the environment of the thriving family. So under the struggling family, what kind of environment do you have? Chaos. Chaos. From the moment they wake up to the time they go to bed, there is chaos. The house is chaotic, very, very chaotic, very, very chaotic. There's unpredictable routines in the house. Everything in the house, there's nothing stable. The children, they don't know when to do they don't even know anything. There's just chaos. They wake up in the morning, there's chaos in the morning, chaos everywhere. Now, not just this, the members are physically present, as in daddy and mommy. You can see my daddy and mommy in the house, but emotionally they are disconnected. They're emotionally disconnected. Another sign or another characteristics of the struggling family environment is that when it comes to communication, it's more of reactive and conflict focused, meaning that every time they are communicating, it's either to resolve an issue or they're reacting rather than responding. Another thing you need to know about the struggling family is that you see them all together, but guess what is happening? They are all on their devices. They are all on their devices, meaning that screen time has replaced meaningful interaction. You see them not interacting properly, you see them not talking, you see them not having good connection. Rather, they're all isolated and they're all living in the same house, so but they're all doing different things. The husband is doing something else, the wife is doing something else, the children are doing something else. They don't have meaningful interaction. And that is why you need to be in this class. That's why you need to call people, your friends, let them know. They let them watch this video. You need to share it with them. Let them know in case they're having this type of and family environment, what do they need to do? How can they move from the struggling family environment to the thriving family environment? Now, guess what? This kind of family environment, there's lots of stress, there's lots of anxiety in this family. Decisions are based on emotions. They don't make rational decisions because everybody is upset. Everybody is, everybody is upset. Everybody is upset basically, And because of this, the family, when they try to when they make decisions, the decisions always feel overwhelming and unguided. Why? Because the decisions are mostly emotional. Guess what? Individuals in this family feels that they need to compete. They don't so husband and wife, they don't see themselves as complementing each other. Rather, they see themselves as always competing, and that is not nice. And also, there's also the victim mentality, meaning that there's always a problem. Oh, it's not my fault. Blame gaming. It's his daddy, his mommy, it's the wife, it's the husband. These are signs that the family environment is struggling. Now, let's go to the thriving family environment. Here, they have structured routine. There is stability and there's security in this home. Number two, there is genuine connection through quality time spent together. One of the things I love about when I'm at home with my children and my husband is that quality time we spend together. So for now, I have my children are out of the home. I have just my daughter with me, and but anytime we are together, I love the fact that that quality time. And the thing about parents, the one thing the parents need to know is that when your children are young, create those memories with them, so that spend quality times with them, so that you can create those memories with them. Because when they leave home, it's the memories you spent with them that want to bring them back home. If your home is toxic, if your home is chaotic, if your home is unpredictable, your children wouldn't want to come home when they're out of school. So it's very important that you make your home conducive. Thriving family environment, genuine connection through quality time together. There is proactive communication, meaning that you are proactive in the way you communicate. You've seen signs that, oh, there might be trouble. You quickly address it. You are proactive rather than being reactive, rather than waiting until there's trouble. You now start blaming and shaming and getting upset. No, there's proactive communication. There is the technology use is managed intentionally, meaning that you guys have times when you use your screen, you have places where you don't use your screen. There is this balance when it comes to technology and screen usage. The home environment is calm and confident. Then another thing, that there is shared values, guided decision. So you guys have shared values, and this your shared values guide decision making process. And in this kind of family, individual strength collectively, as in it comes together to support the collective goal of the family. So you might have someone that is good in art or business. You have someone that is good in sciences. You have someone that is good in communication. You have someone that is good in decision making. All these individual strengths, it support the collective success of the family. And guess what? The thriving family environment is more of a growth mindset environment, meaning that when there are troubles, when there are problems, you guys don't play the victim games. You guys don't play the game, the victim game or the blame game. Rather, everybody comes together to find a solution. And that's when we say you have a growth mindset. So you can see that the difference between these two environments is not about money, it's not about intelligence, it's not about the circumstances, but it's about being deliberate and doing things intentionally. Every family would face one challenge or the other. That's what you need to know. If there's a family that will tell you that we are not facing any challenge, that family is not being truthful. Every family will face a challenge. However, it's the way you respond. It's the way you develop systems and skills to navigate around these challenges that will make your family a thriving family. So the question now is, which one of these families do you want to have? The choice is yours. Will you continue as business as usual with the chaotic home environment, you're being physically present but not emotionally connected, where communication is reactive and not your communication is reactive and not conflict focused, not solution oriented, or screen time has replaced meaningful communication. Instead of you having communication, children talking to their parents, parents talking to themselves, everybody is on screen. So the choice is yours. Which one of these do you want? Which one of these do you want? So thank you for those who are just joining. Thank you so much for those who are just joining. So is your home toxic? Is your home environment conducive? What is it about your home? Do you want to have a thriving family, or do you want to continue in that mess? So today basically is just for me to set down the foundation. And the foundation is identifying between a struggling family and a thriving family. Now the I'm going to go straight now into the five building blocks of what I call it building block, the five foundation of a thriving family. So I've spoken about what a thriving family is. I said a thriving family is one whereby everyone in the family loves themselves. A thriving family is a family whereby everyone in the family feel loved, they feel safe, they feel seen, they feel heard, respected, and supported, and they are connected. A thriving family is a family whereby the members of the family have a healthy relationship, healthy connection, and they're emotionally stable. Now, I've spoken about the characteristics of a struggling family. I've spoken about the characteristics of the thriving family. Now, I want to talk about the five pillars, five things every family needs for the family to be thriving. Five things. But before I go into the five things, there are some things I wrote down. I said a thriving family is one that is based on number one, healthy vision and mission. Number one, they have a healthy vision and they have a mission, meaning that the parents of the family, they've sat down and they've decided that this is the kind of family we want to have. This is the future I'm taking. So the parents have said, this is the future we are taking this family to. That means you are having a healthy vision. Then the mission simply is how you're going to achieve that vision. A thriving family has shared values, meaning that family members have values they share together. And these values are what decides or what shapes their decision making process. I also wrote here that a healthy family, at the center of a healthy family, is God. Because without a higher power, you cannot have a thriving family. I want everybody to know that. Without a higher power at the center, you cannot have a thriving family. Without a higher power at the center, and when we talk about higher power, that is God. A thriving family has God as a center of the at the center of the family, meaning that everything they're doing, they have God in it. Their values, their visions, everything is God centric. Because if you don't have God at the center of your family, it will be very difficult for you to build a thriving family. Okay, so it says here that at the core, at the center of a thriving family is God. Absolutely. At the center of a thriving family is God. So let me read what I wrote here again. I said a thriving family is one that is based on having a healthy vision, mission, shared value, and at the center of this thriving family is God. The God factor is very important. I also wrote here that it is about having deeper connections, mutual respect, effective communication, shared values that guides the decision making process. And I also said that every member of the family feels seen, heard, supported, loved, and valued. Now, I want to go into the 5 pillars of a thriving family. For you to build, for you to have a thriving family, your family should be based on these 5 pillars. At the center of the pillar is what? God. Yes. So let's go. One of the things when I work with parents, when I work with families, so my job is not just parents and their children. My job is how to help the family to connect, how to the holistic well-being of the family. So part of the things I do, I help them in creating these pillars. And for every family that has these pillars, in fact, so the first pillar is connection. How do you bond? How are you emotionally close with your family members? That's the first pillar. Every thriving family is a family that has connection. Second pillar, communication. How do you express yourselves in the family? Is your communication healthy? Do you have healthy communication? Or your communication is mostly about shouting, hitting, screaming, and all that? Do you have a healthy communication? Do you guys talk, express yourself healthily? Do you do more of active listening? The third pillar when it comes to having a thriving family is having a home environment that is safe, emotional safety. Some people call it psychological safety. One of the things I do with schools and organizations is I also help them to create a psychologically safe environment. And what's the meaning of creating a psychologically safe environment or an emotionally safe environment? This is when the home is free from fear and shame. I hope you can see me. If you can still see me, let me know. Can you still see me? If you can see me, please let me know. Can you see me? Yes, okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you. So, 5 pillars. Number one is there should be connection. Number two, how do we express ourselves as a family? Number three, is your home emotionally or psychological safe for the family members? And what do I mean by this? Meaning that everyone in the family can express themselves without being afraid. Everyone in the family can express themselves without being afraid of being judged, of being shamed, of being, should I call, emotionally abused. There's no emotional abuse in that family. Then we say that family is on the way to becoming a thriving family. Number four pillar is that family has consistent structure and boundaries, meaning that their routines, their healthy expectations, everything has been spelled out, clearly defined structures and boundaries. If the family does not have clearly defined structures and boundaries. There's something we call enmeshment, whereby one person will be taking over the responsibility of the other person. That person will be angry, why are you doing what I'm meant to do? Or the one that is taking the responsibility and the other person is not doing anything will be resenting the other one. I remember speaking with a family, whereby the wife has taken on the responsibility of proof. There's nothing wrong in, if there are times when things won't be going, there's not all the time things will be rosy, right? So there are times when one might be financially more buoyant than the other. There's nothing wrong there. But when the other person has decided not to take up any responsibility and has given this responsibility to the other family member, there will be resentment. There will be resentment. And because of this, it's very important that you avoid this. So, structures should be clearly defined, roles should be clearly defined. What is expected of everybody should be clearly defined. Healthy expectations, clearly defined structures and roles and boundaries. That is the fourth pillar. Now, the fifth pillar is having a growth and a purposeful or purpose-filled mindset, meaning that every member of the family is growing emotionally, they're growing spiritually, they're growing physically, they're growing socially, and they're growing financially. Yes. So the fifth pillar is growth and purpose living, meaning that every person in that family has a sense of purpose. Every person is that in that family is growing. So even our children, they're growing physically, academically, they're growing spiritually, they're growing socially, they're interacting with people. So those are the five pillars of a thriving family. So let me read them all over again. So the first pillar I mentioned is connection. If you don't love, if the family is not a family where there is love, where there is emotional connection, there's no way that family, even if every other pillar is done, you have clearly defined rules and structures, you communicate, you have a growth mindset. If there is no love, if there's no emotional connection, it will be difficult. You won't have a thriving family. I just need to know that. So the first pillar is emotional connection. How do we love ourselves? How do we express love? So the second is communication. How do we communicate? How do we express ourselves? Do we express ourselves healthy, or do we use words we're not meant to use? Do we our facial expressions are very, very upsetting? Are we always throwing moods around the house? If that is the reason, why is that going on? The third is having an emotionally or psychologically safe environment where everybody feels safe, everybody feel emotionally heard. They feel they're heard in their home. They feel that they're safe. There's no shame. There's no fear. There's no coming home and saying, "Hey, what would daddy say today? What will mommy do today? Oh my God!" When children live in homes like that, they want to leave the house. They won't want to come back. So is your home physically safe? Can something happen to your child outside and come home and say, "Mommy, this was what happened. What do you think? What can we do?" Do you have that safe space where your children can come back and talk to you? A thriving family has that. Then the fourth pillar is having clearly defined structures. Yes, in your home, there should be clearly defined structures. There should be boundaries. There should be consistent routines. These things are very important for the thriving family. Then the fifth pillar is having a growth and a purposeful mindset, meaning that everybody in that family is contributing, is growing physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, socially. There is growth in that home. If there is no growth in the home, the family is not thriving. The family is struggling. So with these few points of mine, I'm going to give an assignment for those of us that are here, because we're going to have another session next week. I'm going to give some assignment. I want you guys to go and reflect on what kind of atmosphere exists in your home? Do you remember with the slides I showed? I showed the atmosphere of the struggling family and atmosphere of the thriving family. Which one of them exists in your home? Number two question is, what patterns do you want to change in your home? What patterns do you want to change? Number three is, what strengths already exist? So let me go over it. The first assignment is, I need to go back home and determine what kind of home environment do we have? What kind of family environment? Is it a toxic one? Is it a struggling one? Or is it a thriving and pleasant home environment? What kind of home environment do you have? That's the first assignment. We're going to share with us next week. The second question is, out of all these things that I've mentioned, which one of them, which patterns have you noticed that you want to change? Is it the way you guys communicate? Is it the way you guys, is your house chaotic? Do you have structures in the home? Or is it the way you guys, is it that you guys don't feel loved, or you don't feel seen? Or is it that you guys don't even have a family vision, or you don't have a family mission? What is it that you want to change? That's the second question or assignment. And the third one is, what strengths do you have in your home that you guys want to build on? What strengths do you have in your home that you want to build on? What strength do you have in your home do you want to build on? Now, next week, we'll be talking about emotional connection. How can we build emotional connection in our home? And one way, if I won't say it today, I'll say it next week. So, I've spoken about so thank you so much for those who have joined. We've said a whole lot. We've spoken a whole lot. I've given assignments. So please, I expect you guys to do your assignment. So this is a 4 week. So this session is a free session, very free. I'm not collecting money from anybody, because I just believe that the family is the smallest unit of the society, any society you're seeing out there. And everything we are seeing in the world, in our Nigerian society, is a function of our homes. I want you to know that. So our society is a reflection of the families we are living in. And my ordained assignment is to help families to thrive. And that's why I'm doing this free. I'm giving this session free. However, there's also the space for me working with you one-on-one. If you want me to work with you one-on-one, you can send me a message. We can talk about how you do about if you want me to work with you one-on-one. But for the group, this is like a group session whereby I have come together to speak with parents, speak with family members, how to build a family life, how to have a thriving family. Because if you don't have a thriving family, it will be very difficult for the society. All of us want Nigeria to be better. Nigeria will only be better if the family system is better. If the parents are doing what is expected of them, they're raising well-balanced and emotionally stable children. If the children too, they've brought their head down to listen to their parents and allowing their parents to train them, that is when Nigeria will be better. And that's why this program is free, in the sense that you guys are not paying. However, it's not free because it's costing me time and it's costing me money. But this is one of the things I've told God that I would do to help families to be better. Now, I started by talking about what a thriving family is. I spoke about the difference between a thriving family and a struggling family. I also spoke about the difference between a struggling family environment and a thriving family environment. I went further to talk about the 5 pillars of a thriving family. And I said that at the center of a thriving family is God. If you don't have a relationship with God, if you don't have God in your family, it will be very difficult for you to build a thriving family. So I want us all to know that. Next week, so these 4 weeks has been divided into all the different pillars. Next week, we'll be talking about emotional connection, how to set your family vision, your family mission, and also how to create your shared values. The following week, we'll be talking about communication, how to have healthy communication, and also how to um, resolve conflict resolution. The following week, we'll be talking as the third week. That's the third week. Then the fourth week, we'll be talking about how we can all grow in the family, how we can have a growth mindset, and how the family can grow as one. I want to say thank you to everyone who's joined. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. God bless you all. I'll be expecting to see more people next week. Please share this video with your friends. Share this video with your enemies. I know you don't have enemies. With your friends, your colleagues at work. Let them all come and learn more about how to build a thriving family. Next week, well, so for those who have registered, for those who registered, I'm going to send a questionnaire to you, which is how to know if your house, if to know if your family is thriving, or if you are struggling, or to know if your family is just there. I'm going to send a questionnaire to those that have registered to know if your family is struggling, surviving, or thriving, or if your family is growing. We're going to, or if your family is in distress, you are going to know by responding to the questionnaire yourself. So thank you so much, everyone. See you next week. Have a nice day. But wait, before I go, do you have any question? Is there any question before I go? Oh, thank you so much. Do you have any question? Do you have any question before I go? Okay. Do you have any question before I go? Okay, then. Thank you so much, everyone. So, next week, we're going to continue by talking about how to build emotional stability, how to build emotional connection, how to create your values, your vision, and also how to create your mission statement. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye.